So today I thought we would look at some Resolve specific files. I'm not talking about sort of audio files or video files. I'm talking about sort of specific Resolve files that you might come across in your workflows, and also kind of how useful they might be and when you might use them. So the first one is going to be a DRP, which is a DaVinci Resolve Project file. Then we'll look at a DRT, which is a DaVinci Resolve timeline file, and then a DRA, which is a DaVinci Resolve archive file. So on screen here, we've got a DRP on the left, a DRT on the right, and these are both how the icons would look in your system. So in this case, this is on Mac, so this is in Finder. And then the next and final one is the DRA, which is the DaVinci Resolve archive. Now it's not really a file, it's more of a folder. As you'll see here, it contains media and also projects. So we'll talk about that a little bit later. So first up, the DaVinci Resolve project file. Here we can see Resolve open in the local project library. And really, you're probably saying to me, James, well, I can see my project. It's there, it's in the library. What more do I need to know, really? I mean, I can open that up, start work, we're all good. And you're totally right. That is the Resolve project, and you can just get going with it. Let's just open it up, just to show you. Very quick, simple project. A couple of timelines in the edit page. A couple of clips graded in the color page. Nothing too crazy. We'll use this as an example to show you what these file types are. In the local project library, the look_testing is the only project we have here. We'll use this, and if we right click on it, we can see that we have export project options. So we have two, export project and export project with stills and LUTs. And we'll do both of these and quickly show you what the differences are. If we right click and export what we now know is called a DRP, a DaVinci Resolve project, we'll just call this look development. And then we'll right click again and export the project with stills and LUTs. So exactly the same process, we'll just call this a different file name, look development, stills, LUTs. Now, why two different types? If we go over to Finder again, we can now see these two files side by side. And if we look at the .drp, we can see it really is quite small. And then if we compare that to the DRP with stills and LUTs in the file name, you can see that that's quite a bit bigger. Why is this? Now, crucially, before we look into this, the main point to remember about a DRP is that it is only a project file. It does not include any media. With that understanding, now let's look at why these two exports that we've just made are different sizes. Now, in the color page, we have a gallery here on the left. And I'm sure a lot of you know about this, but really quickly, if you're on a clip and you right click here on your viewer and grab still, Resolve takes a frame grab of the image and saves it to the gallery. And that includes any grade information that is on that clip in the timeline. And that is the difference between saving your DRP with or without stills. When you do it with, Resolve will package up anything that's in that gallery and include it in the DRP. And when you export without stills, none of those will be included, which is why the project is so much smaller. And now we know that, we can simply look to just import our DRPs that we created earlier into the Resolve project library that we have in front of us here. Now, obviously, we've got the project in the library that we then went to export. But an example of when this might be useful is if you're maybe handing the project off to someone else, and then they'll go and import the DRP into their library. Or maybe if you are moving a DRP from one project library to another. So to import a DRP, we can right click here in the project library and go Import Project. And this will allow us to select the DRP. Resolve will import it. And then we can open the project and continue. So the media is actually linking correctly here because it's already on my system. If it was not though, because the DRP, remember, does not contain any media, these clips would actually show as offline. Now the LUTs portion of this, I'm not going to go into in massive detail, but just quickly, lookup tables are integrated inside Resolve, but you can of course make your own, purchase any, bring in third-party ones, and those are what would be included in the DRP when you select the Export with Stills and LUTs option. This is really useful when you're handing off a project, because if you don't do that and you export without the stills and LUTs, the LUTs will not be available to anyone else bringing it in to a new project library. So it's really important to remember that. So now we've covered DRPs, we're on to the DRTs, the DaVinci Resolve timeline files. So we're in the edit page. How do we get a DaVinci Resolve timeline in and out of the project? So quite simply, we go up to our timeline, right click, and go down to Export. And when we click on this, by default, the file type to be exported is a .drt, DaVinci Resolve timeline. So we'll just name this testlook HD_edit and click Save. And if you see here, alongside the DRPs that we exported earlier, we now have that DRT file, and it's tiny. So really easy to interchange between people if you need to, and very easy to keep copies without taking up too much space at all. So to import the DRT into Resolve, just right click again and go to Timelines, and then Import. And then we can just select the DRT that we exported and import that. Very simply, the timeline's imported into the project and we're good to go. And again, as with the DRP imported previously, the media is linking correctly in this timeline because it's already on my system. If it was not, these clips would of course show as offline because the DRT, just like the DRP, does not contain any actual media. And then that takes us really to the last file type we want to talk about in this video, which is the archive. Now, as I said, it wasn't really a file type, it's more a folder structure. And to create one of these, or to bring one in, you need to go back to the project window. And if you right click here, you can see underneath the export project options that we were using earlier, we've got the option to restore a project archive, or crucially, what we need first is to export a project archive. So if we click on that, we can then name our archive. We'll just leave it as look testing here and click save. And now we get a box that we won't have seen before. This is some options, if you like, that are available to us when we create a DaVinci Resolve archive. So the options are media files, render cache, and proxy media. So by default, media files and render cache are ticked. For this example, I only want to include the media used in the project. So we'll deselect render cache, and proxy media is already deselected, so that's all good. And what Resolve will do is it will now copy the media files to the location that we've specified above, and then save a project file alongside that. So here we go, we've got look_testing.dra, that's the folder, and within that we have the media, and also a DRP. Now you guys know what that is, that's a DaVinci Resolve project, all ready to be used by maybe yourself or somebody else to bring the whole project back online. So to restore a Resolve archive, if you right click in the project library here, you can go restore archive. And as we were saying, this is a folder structure. So you need to select the .dra folder, not the DRP. You actually can't select the DRP, it's grayed out. And then click open. And what Resolve will do is it will restore that project into the database for you. Now we've got a little box pop up here that says choose a unique name for your project. And the reason this is because when I exported this project previously from this database, I actually didn't rename it. So we just need to remove Resolve's suggested copy of that it's added to the front. And I'll just call this look_testing restore. And now Resolve will import the project, link to the media that was part of the original DaVinci Resolve archive. We will then open up our restore, and you can see there we've got all of our edits, media on the timeline, grades still there, any Fusion or audio work you've done will be included as well. And also the stills, actually. So we were talking about the still store earlier. You can see here that we'd grabbed a couple in this project and they've come as part of the archive. So really, that's sort of it for the DRP, the DRT, and the DRA files. One thing I was thinking about whilst I was doing this actually is that you also have a media management tool in Resolve, and this would be something to look at, I think probably in the next video, which is available just here under the File menu. And this is a little bit more of a detailed way of managing your project. There are various options to copy, transcode media, all sorts of things that as you sort of use Resolve more and more, you'll probably find really useful. So hopefully that has been useful to talk about a couple of Resolve specific files. If you've got some questions, chuck them in the comments. I'll try and answer them. Liking and subscribing, always lovely. And hopefully see you on the next one. Take care. All the best.